Cancelled.
Schweezy.
Move, bitch, get out of my fucking way. It's Black History Month.
So this year for Black History Month, I wanted to go over You Season 4 Part 1. Okay. Because it's not anything to do with black people. There are two black people in this season. Marianne and some other chick who was literally just a small role. Like, literally a small role. You, those of you who don't know, You is... Fucking you. That's who you are. No, there's a show on Netflix called You. It's been on since 2018, and I fucking love that show.
What?
Basically, it's about. Basically, it's. Is it really okay? Is it technically first person? I think for the most part, it is really first person for the most part. You follow this guy named Joe. Now he is played by Penn Badgley. He was on Gossip Girl. And he's rumored to possibly be Reed Richards. I swear to God, I don't think he's going to be Reed Richards, but I swear to God, in the 2 days before this episode posts, and then the highlight of this comes out, if Penn Badgley is not confirmed, or they confirm who Mr. Fantastic is, I'm going to be fucking pissed. But anyways, though, no, Penn Badgley, he's fucking a terrific actor. And the fact, he's very, like, the fact that he's very handsome is honestly the worst part about how he portrays Joe Goldberg, the character he plays on the show. Joe is basically the first season kind of sums up his character. It's like he found a girl he was really interested in, and it was at his job where he works at a bookstore. And instead of letting fate figure that shit out, he put fate into his own hands and he stalked her. And some of the stalking is okay, and a lot of it was not. A lot of it was not okay. And eventually, his stalking allowed her to become boyfriend, girlfriend, and shit like that. Not to mention that she had a fuckboy she was kind of hanging out with named Benji, and Joe killed Benji. So he kills people, but you're following him as like the protagonist. But he should be an antagonist, but he's the protagonist, technically. So basically, first season, like, if you haven't seen the first season, first of all, Elizabeth Lail, I actually like Penn Badgley and Elizabeth Lail as Mr. Fantastic and Z-Storm. But anyways, though, basically the first season, I'm just going to sum it up. It's been out for a while. Basically, Joe Goldberg falls in love with a girl named Beck, who's played by Elizabeth Lail, and basically... they fall in love and eventually become a relationship, but he was stalking her so much beforehand. It's pretty fucking weird. And he ended up killing her fuckboy, Benji, and her best friend, Peaches. Also in the season 2, and it's a book too. I did read the book, and by read the book, I mean listen to the audiobook. And I got to the point where they were in IKEA and shit like that. So I just haven't finished it. That's really the reason I still have the audiobook. But anyways, so basically it goes from there. And then, so basically each season is like a summed up story that could lead into another story as well. But it's so funny that cause I watch the show and I'm just like, how's Joe gonna get away with it this time? I see it as like a sitcom, but Joe's a terrible person. I'm like, why am I following this terrible person? And I think for me, it does have something to do with, I have kind of an interest. It's not something I have, I don't praise serial killers. Those are really bad people. And they should be considered as really bad people. But I'm so interested in, heists and, thrillers and shit like that, I love that shit where it's if I could pull a heist, I would. Just for the idea of pulling a heist, not even for the monetary reward. I just want to pull a heist because I'm so interested in the idea of what went wrong, what did you do wrong, and let's say if we go back and change this, what would make it work? And so I get into these serial killers, Ted Bundy. I'll give him as an example. That guy's a rascal. But anyways, what basically happened is Ted Bundy he's got at least 30 plus women killed under him, and then. And I'm like, that guy's terrible. how did you get to that number? And so that's the, and I don't remember any of the victims. That's the bad part. But anyways, though, like, you get to his numbers, and basically I learned with, like, Ted Bundy, and, like, what got him caught and everything. And, like, the first couple times, whatever, he escaped prison once, he got caught pretty quickly. But then he escaped prison a second time. And, this is my mind. And I think, if I killed all these women and shit like that, you know what? I'm going to start a new life, and guess what? You can't be killing women anymore. Exactly. But what did fucking, not Joe from the show, fucking Ted Bundy do? He went and killed more women and did the same shit. So, you should have learned your lesson the first time you got sentenced to prison for doing that shit. You were like, hey, you can't be killing women for your sexual pleasure. And what did he do? He escaped prison, and he did that same shit again and got caught. That's the thing. So I'm just so interested in, like, that was a long story short of, like, why am I so interested in that? I'm so interested in, like, heists and shit like that. And so with serial killers, like, how did it come to an end for them? And, like, Jeffrey Dahmer, it was just, like, a fucking chance. Like, it was so weird. I was just like, just randomly one night, the cops came to his place, looked in, and he allowed a search, and they found many human body parts. Anyways, though, but, like, I feel like it was just yesterday. I was just talking about You season 3, like, that season, and, like, I talked about it on this podcast. I think one thing is I've been doing this podcast way too long, but I still don't want to stop. But, like, at the same time, it's like, didn't I just talk about season 3, and, like, 2022 was, like, a blur. It just slowly seems like a blur to me at this point. My dad died, so that's the reason why. And it's just like, oh shit, it's almost been a year, and you're like, the world keeps turning, regardless of what you think. So what's next on my notes? This season was actually weird. So we're season 4, and I told you about season 1. It was all about, like, hey, this guy falls in love with a girl, and he loves her so much he has to kill her. Like, he has to murder her. Like, you're like that. And you're like, how is Joe going to do it this time, guys? But, like, this season, he does fall in love with a bitch. Like, let's just bring it up here. He does fall in love with someone. But that's not the main focus. She's not really a problem. She's not really, like, the reason or any problem in the story. This season 4, they decided to make it a whodunit. And I really do. I love this show. I love You. And I think I wanted to, the thing is, once you realize you like TV shows, like, you want it to end and be contained as a masterpiece, as a huge How I Met Your Mother fan, how disappointed I am. So they made this season a whodunit kind of episode. Basically, and basically the same shit happens for Joe everywhere he is. So Joe meets new people who force friendship upon him, which I have given that advice, but maybe try to get to know people more. Don't just, like, let people be mysteries. Okay, sometimes mysteries need to be solved. If you've watched any Scooby-Doo, not Velma, I've not watched Velma, I'm not going to watch Velma. Okay, I'm okay with changing races, but I feel like Shaggy, that's too much for me, Changing Shaggy's race, that was too much, Change Ariel's race, fine. You know how much I love redheads. I love redheads a lot. But, like, you change Shaggy's race, that's a problem. So, yeah, basically, let's go back to the show You. Joe gets unintentionally friendshipped with a bunch of people. Then, like, the guy he was friends with who got him in, like, his apartment, too. So it's kind of like I need to be friends with this guy. He got me a nice place in London. First of all, this is his 4th fucking city. Like, he had, like, his 4th fucking city. So basically, I think the beginning of the season, his friend he had, the one who got him the apartment that Joe was probably like, I'm not going to kill this guy, was found stabbed on his table. And Joe got rid of the body, because Joe's built different.
Come on, Mark, don't be stingy.
He was built different. He's like, I know how to get rid of a body. And then the guy who was framing him caught on to that, and so he made a more elaborate plan. So these are like thrillers, whodunits, and I fucking love mysteries. Like, y'all know Harry Potter's my shit, but, like, I really love a good one when it makes you not think of what the actual answer is. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I bet some people are looking back now. They will call me a skeptic, a simp, a thought, a dumbass. But I will tell you this: when I watched The Good Place for the first time, I didn't realize they were in the bad place. I just thought shenanigans was going on. And I was like, this is the bad place. That was a good twist, because that's a good twist I didn't see coming. But it's kind of like when I watch shows like these whodunit shows, I do, and I've watched a lot of these, and I think I'm just kind of stupid, and I enjoy the twist every time. And, you know, sometimes the twist they don't see coming, and they do a good job with that. But this guy was kind of like, he was there, and then he wasn't there, and he was there again. If you watch it, it's like 5 episodes. You'll finish it. You'll fucking finish. It's Penn Badgley. Ladies, if you're listening to this, you see Penn Badgley, you're going to be fucking watching this show. I guarantee you're not worried about that. But anyways, though, I was kind of like, because I like to, like, you know, make my first guess. I'm like, it's never the person you think it is, because the person you think it is at first is the next victim. And, you know, when you're not the killer, it's okay to wait for the next victim, unless it's you. But then it's like, yeah, this guy, he's kind of outside of it all, kind of like Joe too. And it's, it's very interesting. Like, he hacks into his phone, and shit like that, like leaves him messages and shit like that. I'm like, man, how fast I would fucking... I've been watching, like, The Last of Us too, and I'm like, that's, like, a weird one, because, like, when you get to, like, the current day, it's kind of like, hey, just don't get infected, and if you haven't got infected by that point, it's like, you're good, I'll just do things that don't get me infected, you know? I have not had COVID, knock, knock, and I want to keep it that way, see if I just don't have... Maybe I could actually be immune to COVID, because I have shared joints with people who probably have COVID, and I just got lucky, or I'm built different, you know? I'm built different, but in the meantime, because that's what you guys, what y'all getting, this shit, so like that. So yeah, I saw the twist at the end. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil the end of the 5 episodes, but if you're smoking and you see, you'll guess it too. Like, if you're into whodunits like me, you'll be like, that's not that interesting. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. You know, you're not like shocked, but you're like, that makes sense. You know, that's how it is. I'm like, I love to be shocked by that shit, because I have been shocked by shit before. Only Murders in the Building. I wasn't shocked, but I didn't guess it either. It's always, yeah, what did I guess with that season? I was thinking it was Michael Rappaport's character involved, but then, yeah, never mind though. But, yeah, no. Anyways, though, so this is like the first part of 2 seasons, which I loved how they did it with Stranger Things. Stranger Things is such a great show, and, you know, and I've been watching it since 1, and I haven't spoiled, you know, I once, story time, season 2 came out, I watched every episode, then left, like, what happened in the episode as a status on my Facebook. I lost a lot of Facebook friends that day, and a lot of college friends unfriended me on Facebook, which fucking sucks for you, because I could have hired you one day, but I don't know, I'm not friends with you on Facebook anymore, so it sucks to be you. So yeah, no, it was cool, Stranger Things, you know, the current season, and yeah, I'm kind of curious, you know, with how they settled it. I want to see how it ends, though, but I don't think I'm going to give a shit as much as the ending, just considering how they set up this killer, because I guess the first part was setting up who this killer is. There's some interesting tactics on, like, why they're using Joe for his specific needs. But after that, like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to think, though, because Joe literally, like, has no, like, he just falls in love with a bitch, but, like, he's pretty quick to lose that connection with them. So it's just like, Joe could just literally just run away. But this guy also seems like he has contact, so... Curious how this will end.
Man proposes and God disposes.
I'm wondering if this will be another season of You or not, but I feel like, what is a good conclusion for the show You? Would it be Joe Goldberg going to jail, or Joe Goldberg dying, or Joe Goldberg just, like, being human? Like, that's an interesting question. How do you think it should end? That's a good question. Hey there, you just checked out a highlight from Cancel Schweezy. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you learned something and that you are now a smarter individual. Just so you know, we have full episodes and other many highlights available now. Click here for the next best thing that you can go check out as well. And make sure you press that subscribe button and press that notification bell. That way you get updated anytime we make a new post or anytime that we make a new highlight or full episode. So thank you, honk if you love butt drugs, and stay awesome.